Hello, good day to you. This is Jack Lookman of jacksinspiration.com. Basically, what we do here is that we talk about business ideas, we talk about life experience. Our main aim is about empowering and inspiring generations. So different things we might do with business ideas. People might get business ideas both low cost and high cost, and they might be able to leverage that. Also, with the life experience, obviously, there are many pitfalls in life, and as older citizens, it's our responsibility to share life experiences so that the coming generations don't start from level zero and they're able to leverage on our experience. So there'll be business ideas, different things to inspire the audience. As I've said, basically we empower. Our aim and our mission is to empower and inspire generations, and if the world becomes a better place after we've left it, I think we'll be happy that we accomplished. Today I'm going to be talking about monetizing academically successful students. Basically, this could be students who've attained very high academic excellence, maybe in secondary school, maybe in universities, etc. But they are the top students, and basically, the academically successful ones, maybe they are making A's or A stars, maybe very high grades, secondary school, primary school, university, etc. Those are who I would call the academically successful students. The non-academically successful ones are maybe those with lower grades, maybe C's, maybe D's, maybe even complete failures academically. Doesn't mean they are failures for life. Now, one of the things I know is that the fact that you fail your GCSEs or your university education, that doesn't mean you're a failure. It could well be that academics is just not for you. It might be that you might be better as a vocational person. Maybe you could do business, maybe you can do vocational jobs, carpentry, plumbing, etc. But at the end of the day, I want to look at how we can monetize academically successful students. Now, some of those students who don't perform optimally, they do so for quite a number of reasons. I'll mention some reasons, some topics which we can explore in a little bit of detail. But sometimes some of the opportunities that they need, they don't have. As part of this talk, I'm going to talk about ways of monetizing successfully academically successful students. Basically, first of all of us in this world probably have a few or all of what I'm going to mention. We all have a lifestyle. Some of us sacrifice in one form or the other. Some of us have some spirituality of some sort. Family connections, maybe foster family or biological family, etc. Social life. Some might have a social life, some might not have a social life, but that's another thing. Academic life, whether you actually, what you do with your academics, whether you read 24/7, whether you read 5 minutes a day or whatever. Your personality, everyone has a personality. Some people might be hyper, some people might be hypo, some people might be introverts, some people might be extroverts, etc. The friends and the acquaintances that those children move about with, are they friends that add quality to their life, that add value to their life, or are they just friends and acquaintances who are just there to get whatever they can get and move to the next person? Finances. In some cases, we have different types of families. Some are rich, some are poor, some are in between. But finances play some impact as well. Opportunity. Yeah, opportunity, like they say, comes once, but in this day and age, opportunity comes quite a few times. Some people might have opportunity, some people will seek opportunity, etc. Parental support. In some cases, you have students who are struggling all by themselves. They don't have parental support. They just do their own thing. The parents do their own thing. And at the end of the day, there are some other parents who actually take the time, effort, and whatever it takes to support their children. I was discussing with a friend the other day. She said one of our children, some of our children, when she was bringing them up, she actually had to do complete part-time work. And she devoted time and energy to bringing up those children. Even when she was working, sometimes before going to work, as early as 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, she's up and they are actually working on the children's schoolwork together. Some people get tutoring support. They get tutors to come to their homes and support them, and they help them with their schoolwork and guide them so that they're able to attain success, etc., etc. Now, what's the problem? First and foremost, there's a bit of societal decay. There are some children, maybe they have the abilities, but they don't have opportunities, etc. And so when they try a little bit and they don't succeed, some of them will give up, and then some of them go into drugs, follow the wrong company, etc., and so on, and then their life starts to decay, and eventually this impacts on society. Also, non-optimized potential. I highlighted a few things, the opportunities, tutoring, etc. Some students don't actually have access to most of those things. At the end of the day, it's just them and them alone. So it's usually more of an uphill struggle than those who have some of those other factors. So at the end of the day, even though some students are, they're able, but for some reason or the other, they're not optimizing their potential. Now, what's one of my solutions or my value proposition? Well, at the end of the day, what you might want to do, first and foremost, like they say, a fool will learn from his mistakes, and a wise person will learn from other people's mistakes. Basically, the process I'm going to talk about, first and foremost, you need to headhunt successfully, academically successful students. You need to conduct interviews. Now, to headhunt them, basically what you need to do, you could check, when the results are out, you can headhunt them through their schools or through their friends, etc. You can conduct focused interviews with these children. All these things I've highlighted in the first part of this video. You ask them questions on them, and you can even ask even more questions. At the end of the day, what you're trying to do from this conducted interviews, which is focused, is to get as much juice as possible. What is your lifestyle like? What time do you wake up in the morning? What do you do with your day? Do you sleep till 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock? Do you do your schoolwork on the table, or do you do it in bed? Do you just listen to videos and watch videos all day long? Do you listen to music all day long? Or what's your lifestyle and all that? Now, I know in this day and age, most people ask when you want them to do something for you, they ask, what is in it for me? What am I going to get from sharing my time and my experience and all that? So at the end of the day, you might want to incentivize them. You might either give them a gift, you negotiate whatever the incentive would be. It's either you might want to give them maybe £50 or £100, whatever you want to give them, in exchange for them sharing their experience and sharing their experience and their time. Now, with the incentivization, you might even come to an agreement that you profit share. So that if there are so many views, for example, if you're going to do this project on YouTube, for example, if the monetization is very high, you might agree on a profit sharing formula as well. Now, it is also very important, the person you're interviewing might want to be anonymous, so it's important that you keep that in perspective. Okay, and now I will also talk about checks and balances to avoid fraud, etc. For example, the same person coming to relate the same story but just tweaking it a little bit. In your process, you have to put in checks and balances to make that there's no unnecessary repetition, etc. And in the process of incentivizing your interviewees, if if what they say is more very authentic, etc. Not you can, there are different ways of monetizing, but you can incentivize them by either giving them something, a gift, maybe money, maybe maybe the profit share or whatever. You can come to an agreement. Now to the crux of the matter, the monetization options. If you do these interviews, you can articulate it properly. Like I've said earlier, you want to make the interviewer anonymous, unless of course they want to be known and if their parents consent, but normally it would be good for them to be anonymous. You can articulate their story properly, and you just do a narrative on YouTube, and your YouTube channel, it's about how children are successful at in their academics or something like that. Maybe that's where your YouTube channel would be. So basically you have a YouTube channel which is dedicated to that. So basically you interview the students, get the crunch, the juice out of what they are saying, and articulate it properly into a video. It can be a 30-minute video or something like that. Of course it's going to be edited, and it's probably going to be you narrating it. So it's going to be a summarized version of what they've told you. You could also use Facebook or maybe YouTube and Facebook intermittently. You can post the information on YouTube and share it on Facebook, or you can do it on Facebook itself. Or there are ways to monetize YouTube and Facebook. You can search for that on there are YouTube channels that talk about monetizing Facebook or YouTube, etc. You can use social media, Pinterest, Instagram, etc. You can share your message. And the more people that view your message and like and subscribe, the more money you are likely to make. You can articulate this into ebooks. For each one you do, you might have an ebook, and for each interview or each set of interviews, you might have ebooks, and you put that story in there. You might have paperbacks as well. I know it might not be economical for you to do a 30-minute video onto a paperback, but I'll come and talk about that in a bit. I think there are ways in which you can actually compile the videos or the whatever text you've written, etc., into an ebook or digital book or video. You can have a compilation and you can actually monetize them, maybe the best ones or the most popular ones. The good thing with YouTube and all these digital products is that you're actually able to what's what they use there, you're able to get the analytics, and that's where you know which ones are popular, which ones are not so popular, etc. So you can compile the most popular ones and compile them to maybe an ebook or a digital video, etc. You can also use podcasts as well. For podcasts, the good thing about podcasts is that you don't necessarily have to show your face. You can just do the interview, you can just do the talk, or even if you want to get the person you interview to be on the podcast, you can make that person anonymous, and you can do the interview, or you can just share your story by articulating it. There are other ways of monetizing as well. And another thing is that when you compile all this information, one of the things you do as part of your process is that you get maybe the name of the person, maybe first name for reasons of anonymity. You might get an email address or maybe mobile number, something like that, some contact details. Now you might do your thing, which might not be 100% professional. You might not be a professional author, you might not be a professional media communicator or something. You're doing it as an amateur. Now, if the professionals actually see what you're doing and see value in it, they might come to you and say, oh, Mr. YouTube man, I want to talk more extensively with this person. Can you provide the contact details? You go to the person, get their permission. If it's right, you link that interviewee with the person, with the professional. Of course, you're a middleman in this process, and of course, you get your cut. So you can also make money through that as well. So, just also to say that your target audience, who is your avatar, who are the people who are going to probably watch your video or read your book or whatever. Now, parents, excuse me, a lot of parents would benefit from this. we know that, especially in this rat race, where everybody's chasing everything and anything, not too many parents actually have quality time for their children. Sometimes you just leave your children to get along with it. Most of the parents who are working class, they probably leave home very early in the morning, come home late at night, and by the time they come back, they're actually stressed out and used and probably abused by the workplace. So at the end of the day, they haven't got the time and energy, the quality time and quality energy to help their children. So if you are given this information, from different perspectives, different children who've made success, those parents will be very happy to get such information. Oh, so whereas in my own case, when I come from work, my children are not doing their schoolwork, they are watching television 24/7, they don't want to be stressed, life is not that difficult, the mindset and all that. When they see people who have succeeded and see what they go through, the sacrifices they make, the type of friends and acquaintances they have, the lifestyles they have, maybe the food they eat and the quantities of food. I remember sometimes when I eat, I eat in excess, and by the time I finish eating, I start feeling tired. So at the end of the day, I might not be able to give quality time to my academics. So these are all different lessons that parents would learn from watching your videos. And if it adds value to what they are giving and their children become successful, then you've done a good job. At the end of the day, it might be necessary for some parents to cut down on their work or to find alternative sources of income, maybe where they can work at home, or maybe they do work that doesn't take all their time and energy. Students are also going to learn as well from it. Basically, it's just like them shadowing what you do to be successful. The other day I was, sometimes I listen to some of the students, oh, I want to be like this superstar, I want to be like that superstar, etc., etc. A lot of them don't see the process, they don't see what it took those superstars to get to where they got to. And as a matter of fact, if you're looking at a footballer, for example, as a superstar, maybe they play in the Premiership or something like that, it takes a lot of toil and sweat, discipline, sacrifice, a lot of rubbish, etc. that they go through before. And those are probably the 1% or 0.5%. Those are the successful ones that you see playing in the Premiership, etc. So at the end of the day, as this relates to students, some students don't know that those successful ones actually went through a lot of toil and sweat and discipline, sacrifice, etc. They just think, oh, she's my friend, we are mates, that type of thing. They don't know what they go through. The other day I went to a relative's house. I woke up about 5 minutes to 6 casually to go and say my prayers. And by the time I got into their house, I noticed that she and her child were at the dining table. I'm not sure even if the child had eaten, they were actually doing their schoolwork. They must have started about 4:30 or 5 or 4, where they were doing the schoolwork. The mom was sitting down with this child, and they were going through the schoolwork together. Wherever this child was going wrong, the mom would correct this child, etc. But what is that happens in the average family? Maybe some people will wake up maybe 7 o'clock or thereabout. They are going to school, come back, etc. But this particular family put in extra time and effort, and that's usually what makes a difference between the ordinary student, the average student, and the successful student. So, and like they say, peer learning is usually very, very beneficial, because if a teacher or somebody of higher authority is passing on the message to the students, sometimes the students might not actually imbibe that message. But if they are hearing it from their peers, their own colleagues, etc., then that's probably going to impact them even more. And another thing if you're going to do it on YouTube video or any of these digital devices, your message can actually be heard all over the world. It just needs to have value, and China, Africa, America, Europe, etc., Asia, your Caribbeans, your message can be heard all over the world. So there's a lot of potential for the business. Now, before I end, I just want to give a disclaimer. You need to sort out the legalities. You don't just get on board and mention that, oh, Miss XYZ of so and so address said. No, you don't do things like that. It's probably better to be anonymous. They have their rights and their responsibilities just as you do. You have to sort out the legalities. You might seek legal advice, or if you have a lawyer friend, you might chat with them about what are the legal implications of what I want to do. Also, the product, if you're going to use YouTube as a platform, you have to find out whether that intellectual property belongs to you or not. And talking about intellectual property, if you're going to do it as an ebook, maybe as videos, etc., make sure you protect it legally as well. So basically, sort out the legalities and have a chat with a lawyer or a legal professional. I must also say that this is not a quick project. If you do it right, you can actually monetize over time. And the more people watch your video, for example, if it's over YouTube, the more likely that you're able to make money. But it's not something you do today and you expect to make millions tomorrow and maybe find yourself in Barbados in the beach or something. No, it takes time to make money. You have to put in the time, the effort, and what it takes. And you have to keep inventing and reinventing yourself. From time to time, you might need to do research to find out what's in vogue. Yes, YouTube may be in vogue now, Facebook may be in vogue now. In 10 years from now, there may not be a YouTube, or it might not be as popular, so you might need to keep reinventing yourself. But basically, what I would advise, even if you want to do it on any of those social platforms, make sure you keep your documents safe on your computers or on your hard drive, etc., so that you can always reproduce it as at when it's necessary. Another thing with some of these social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, etc., from time to time, if you breach their terms and conditions, whether it's knowingly or unknowingly, they could easily block you, and all that information might go down the drain. So bear that in mind as well. I hope this talk has been beneficial. Basically, it's just an idea. It's a bit of an academic process. I believe there are potentials for it, but it depends on what you do to it. Different people might take it to different levels. Some people might do nothing at all, and some people might make a lot of money from it. We never know. My name again is Jack Lookman. My website, my blog is jacksinspiration.com. I hope this has been beneficial. If it is, please don't forget to share and to like as well, and subscribe, and we hope for the best. Enjoy yourself and have a great day. Ireo. Thank you.